had a dream. It was the end of the world.
Invasion.
I think it's something more. Something darker.
We're asking people we don't know to risk their lives.
Strong man is strongest alone. You ever heard that? That's not a saying. That's the opposite of what the saying is.
Hi, welcome to What the Flick. I am Christy, that is Matt, that is Alonzo. Justice League, it's a thing. It's like they're Avengers, you know?
Yeah.
They all come together and they do stuff
Right.
to save the world from ending or something.
Clearly, you've been getting those Marvel checks.
Cha-ching. Okay, tell us, Matt, what's it about?
It is about the Super Friends. Oh wait, that's
Yes.
an older reference.
Where are Jan and Zaina? Zan and Jaina? Zan and Jaina.
Jan and Zane.
Jan-
When did they
Zaina.
get their
Okay.
Zan and Jane.
Glee.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so
Wonder
so Justice League. Okay, straight up. First of all, if you don't want to be spoiled, stop watching.
We're not gonna
We're not gonna
spoil.
try-
We're not gonna
I
spoil much,
understand.
but if you
We're
have
not-
a very
right. If you are the
sensitive-
type of person that thinks any description is a spoiler, maybe not watch this review because there's going to be some things that we can't help but talk about. We're not going to try and spoil it, but anyway, that's the rule. So that being said, Bruce Wayne, Batman, you know, he's the same guy, has realized that in the absence of Superman after he died in the previous film, Batman v Superman, spoiler alert, that a world without Superman's in trouble because maybe there's aliens coming and he needs help, and the people that he dug into Lex Luthor's files and found out about, including Wonder Woman and Aquaman and The Flash and Cyborg, he needs to help defend the world, and so he works to put them all together, and they all have to agree to actually working together and stave off an alien invasion by Steppenwolf, not the band, a big dude with big horns, at least voiced, if not played by Karen Hines. That's the story. Let's watch a clip.
The world needs Superman. I made him a promise. This is why I brought you together.
Ride ain't over yet.
My man.
So Zack Snyder famously had to step away from this.
Right.
It was a family tragedy. He was in the middle of directing it, and so others filled in.
Right, so
and
Joss
helped out.
Whedon
Joss
came in.
Whedon. But it still feels like pretty much every inch of Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah,
in all
I
the worst
disagree. I
possible
totally
ways.
disagree.
And we'll talk about that.
I disagree.
In a visual sense, I agree with you.
It's Sucker
The
Punch. It's
performances go back and
300.
forth.
It's all that like
Okay.
stark
Mirth.
black and white kind of
I'll-
slow-mo with like stuff flying around people's heads.
I'll give you that.
Repetitive and numbing and loud.
Look, Joss Whedon fixed this film. He saved it.
I'm not sure
he
he
saved it.
it.
He saved it.
wish.
He made it a
absolutely
little
saved
cheeky.
it.
He made it a little
absolute-
cheeky and funny. Sometimes
This movie works. You guys are wrong. This movie works.
Really?
I was
bored.
hoping
It
this
works.
was good. I was hoping that between the success of Wonder Woman and the input of Joss Whedon, this was going to be less Snydery, and it is still super Snydery. It's less Snydery than it might have been, maybe, but it's still Snydery enough that it is not a full success.
It's just numbing.
I'm a halvesies on this one, but halvesies leaning towards the disappointing.
It is not as bad as Batman v Superman,
Yes.
but also not nearly as good as Wonder Woman. Yes, I also had
Okay,
hopes.
but that's a large spectrum,
Also,
right?
let's talk about the way Wonder Woman is shot in this movie, photographed in this movie, versus Wonder Woman.
Right.
The male gaze
Right.
is inescapable.
It's
you
back.
see like up shots, like upskirt shots,
Right.
and
It must be
a lot
summer in Themyscira because they're back in like midriff bearing
Yeah,
battle bikinis.
Also, just like a lot of
which-
shots of her walking in leather pants, like from behind. A lot. I mean, it's different. Yeah.
Look, I grew up reading Justice League comics, like and watching the Super Friends and all that stuff, and I, in the back of my mind, I kept thinking that even as much as I was not down for Man of Steel and BVS and Suicide Squad, that somehow Justice League was gonna, we were gonna get the band together and it was gonna be magical. And there are moments where I was admittedly like kind of excited about looking at these people sharing the screen together. But those were fleeting, and those were drowned out by the purple murk of Zack Snyder. That the fight scenes have to take place underground or under like a sooted sky.
Right. Slow motion.
The slow-mo stuff. I don't think the Flash slow-mo stuff is nearly as fun as the Quicksilver slow-mo stuff in the X-Men movies. I think Ezra Miller has been told that he was the comedy relief of the movie, and he is mugging so hard. It's like, oh, down less, please.
So I have a question. Since I'm not the expert. So is he supposed to be gay?
Well,
canonically, no.
Right.
Okay, because
is he supposed to be gay in the movie?
I don't know. There's like a flamboyant kind of femininity to his demeanor and his sense of humor. I just thought, like, is he supposed to be gay?
I welcome a gay Flash. I have no idea.
I think he's just goofy, right?
Okay.
Like he's and maybe as goofy as he is playing against the extremes that we get in the rest, and especially
Aquaman, especially. It's all brute force.
Like he like his Aquaman we get is like a Metallica roadie, right? Like, I mean, and look, like Jason Momoa's fine in that, but you really like expect him, like, in his when he's not saving the world, he's setting up mics for Metallica.
I like that all of his outfits are very like, check out my cleavage, and then when he takes his shirt off, even his tattoos are set up in a way of like, check out my cleavage. Like it's never not giving you the directions. That Joss Whedon came in, I think if you know what you're looking for, and I think there may be fans that complain about this, there's a lot tonally with the way the characters interact with each other and the personalities that have come in, and you see the conflicts and kind of the way those personalities react that really feels like Whedon's writing in a way that you never see in anything Snyder does. I do like Bruce and Diana have a really interesting confrontation about what they do and why they do it that I thought was one of the better conversations I've seen in any superhero movie.
And when he calls her out on her being in the
century
shadows,
of
that really feels like, that's a Whedon line. That absolutely has to be, right?
It's like, that scene is like a quarter hitting the bottom of an empty bucket. You're like, whoa, hey, there's an actual human interaction here, and then it's over.
Well, but that kind of wide-eyed innocence that you see out of the way Barry Allen is portrayed, this is a different. Look, like there's a lot of people who are watching the CW stuff and they love what's going on with the Flash on that show, and that's a really solid show. But this is a different take on Barry Allen, and it works. They play him much younger than anyone else in the Justice League, except maybe Cyborg. And Cyborg is bitter and broken. That's the one that's probably less developed than any of them.
I was gonna say, there's nothing to Cyborg at all. And he's the most tragic of them all.
If this movie were, not that this movie needed to be any longer, but I could have done with another 5 or 10 minutes of Cyborg like characterization.
Because he's the most tragic of them all. Like he doesn't want this, and he's not happy about this.
He doesn't want it, he's not happy about it. And this is where you get into the problem with these teen movies that at some point, everybody kind of gets short shrift, but some of them are gonna get shorter shrift than others because you run out of time. That being said, at this point, at least as moviegoers, we kind of know what we're getting into. And I guess I went in with super low expectations and 2 White Russians and a big blue cocktail.
And a blue drink.
And a big blue drink that I took in the theater because it was the ArcLight. And I had a good time, and and look, like you guys know, the audience knows I'm a Zack Snyder hater. I hated BVS, I hated Man of Steel. I enjoyed this movie. I had a good time. Enough that I wore my Young Turks Batman shirt.
I like your shirt better than I like this movie. Also, we have actual people who can really act who are given nothing to do.
Oh,
Diane Lane and Amy Adams and J.K. Simmons, and they get like a scene or two and they don't register.
Again, I did like Diane Lane and Amy Adams have a scene where they sit and talk, and I'm like, this is electrifying.
In the newsroom break room.
Yeah, by comparison to most of this movie. movie. Yeah, I just.
And Superman's boring. I'm going to put it out there. He's boring. He's no fun. In the Whedonverse, he got no cheekiness. He got no personality.
You know what, though? He's even the small scenes that he's in, spoiler alert, I think he's, especially once he's with the rest of the team, more interesting than almost anything we've seen in the rest of the movies. And in spite of the fact that he is still like one of the challenges with writing Superman, especially in a movie, is that he's basically omnipotent. And so raising the stakes to make that raising the stakes high enough to make his struggles compelling and actually relatable, the movie finds a way to do that in a couple places that I thought they earned. I like that. I like the writing of this. I like the rivalry that you see between Flash and Superman.
That's kind of funny. It's vaguely amusing.
Right. You know, I like the lightness of Barry Allen. That goes a long way to kind of lightening up the rest of the movie, to the point that you can see that this is a lighter take on Bruce Wayne than we had seen in Batman v Superman.
Right. It's still not fun, and they don't have any of the chemistry that the Avengers have, for example.
Yeah. Did the closing credit shawarma make you think, oh, I want to see that, or
no? I'm like, who is that? Wait, the first one or the second? There's two of them.
one.
There's two of them.
So there's two.
Stay through.
Right.
Yeah.
There's stay through two things. One of them
is charming and is a shout out to the old comics.
Right.
The other one is like, oh, really? We're gonna do this now?
I guess so. We got to go somewhere. Yeah, I also forgot what I was going to say. I didn't think that what's his face, Steppenwolf, was a terribly formidable villain. Well-developed
he is a
villain.
dull-ass
villain. He wants to destroy the world again.
He's looking for MacGuffins, and it's like basically like, oh, we got to fight that hurricane. Right, like it's not that exciting.
And the thing is, you know, and again, this would have made the movie 5 minutes longer. But like he wants to turn Earth into Apocalypse.
Right.
But they don't mention Apocalypse. We see boom tubes. They don't say boom tubes. Like it's
I don't think they need to. Though.
They don't. Okay, they don't have to say boom tubes. But if you had explained what Apocalypse is and why he's trying to turn Earth into it would have given him some reason to exist apart from like I'm mean and I want to destroy the Earth. And I have horns.
No, I disagree. I think they do enough explaining like where he comes from and what he's trying to do. And this Conqueror, I was like, all right, fine.
But it's not very interesting once you know. He wants to make the world a hell on Earth.
I think it was. You guys are haters. This movie's not bad.
All right, that's the
really?
alcohol.
Are you 12 now?
Yeah,
I am.
Are we
You guys
losers
are
and haters?
Oh, brother.
Yeah, maybe it's the booze
Sad!
talking.
Exclamation point. All right, my number is 4.3.
Oh, you guys are. In fact, I've talked myself up.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
What's your number now, Matt?
7. Yeah.
All right, Alonzo, what's your number?
I'm gonna go down the middle with a 5. Like there were moments I liked and there were elements I liked, and God, I want these movies to be better because I was always more of a DC Comics reader than I was a Marvel Comics reader. But I'm sorry, the Marvel Comics movies are still eating the DC Comics movies' lunch.
No, they totally are. But you know what? This is 10 steps in the right direction.
No,
Absolutely.
Wonder Woman was 10 steps in the right direction.
No, Wonder Woman
and
is
this
the goal.
taking us
No,
backwards.
Wonder Woman is the goal. Wonder Woman is where it should be. But for everything else, from a franchise, what they're trying to do and build their money-making marketing franchise, this is so much better in the right direction.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't know what our number is anymore because Matt changed his number.
I'm sorry, what is it?
4.3 plus 7 plus 5.
16.3, so 5.4.
All right, and there's no score on the tomato meter.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes.
Not my problem.
Perhaps you've heard of this. They are intentionally withholding their score to
Promote their Facebook show.
wait, and it just looks
come on,
conspicuous.
we like Jackie.
Anyway,
Come
but
on.
on
No,
Metacritic,
I'm sure the Facebook show itself is fine, but come on.
Anyway, on Metacritic, it's somewhere in the mid-40s.
There you go.
Bye.